Okay, welcome everyone to our Thursday agent webinar. Today we have a very special guest, Pierre Mastron, one of my good friends and one of our top producers at NetLaw, and that's exactly why I brought him on today. So he can have the opportunity to discuss what's made him so successful with putting NetLaw into his portfolio of products. So let's go ahead and get started. For those who are brand new or this may be their first webinar with us, welcome. With NetLaw, we do estate planning. And what does that mean? Like the screen says, we handle protecting your client's wealth and their healthcare decisions. And let's talk a little bit about how NetLaw was started. First, what is NetLaw, right? NetLaw is an online IT company that services the estate planning world. And what we did is we were formed originally out of a law office in Louisville, Kentucky. So at the law office, what we did is we served wealth clients, right? So your clients have a lot of money. They come in and talk to one of our attorneys and get their documents done, which is great. But we were servicing such a very small fraction of the community that we really wanted to take estate planning nationwide because, you know, a quote that everybody should be using when they're out there talking to their clients is 60% of Americans don't have a will, which is a scary number. And 90% don't have a comprehensive full estate plan set up for themselves and their family. You know, just terrible numbers on that aspect. And, you know, that's really one of the reasons that we created NetLaw is so that we could lower that number. 60% of Americans not having a will is unacceptable. And those aren't our numbers, they're from a Bloomberg report. So, you know, we sat around and we said, how do we touch or possibly touch everyone in the US that needs this product? And we created a technology working with attorneys in all 50 states. So we worked with these attorneys to create our software. So again, NetLaw is a DIY service where you could create your estate planning documents in the convenience of your home or at work. You don't need to take time off work to go see an attorney, sit in the law office and pay an exorbitant amount of fees. Our software that we developed with these attorneys won the James Keene Award from the American Bar Association. And that award is given out each year to the company who has the best online delivery of legal documents. And as of today, we are the only one in estate planning that's won that award. And of course, we hang our hats on that every day. So, you know, if the American Bar Association is giving you an award for your software, you're doing something right. Our main package, this is what we do about 90% of the time, is our premium probate avoidance package that's available in all 50 states. And everything that you see in the list there is what your clients get. And this is our comprehensive estate planning package. Remember when I said 90% of Americans don't have a comprehensive plan? This is what we're talking about. So as you can see from the drop-down list, all of these documents are included. Your will, a children's trust, power of attorney, your 3 healthcare documents, a pet trust, and the probate avoidance trust. All of those documents are included in this plan. I'll run through these just very quickly to give you a high view of why you need each of these documents, and then talk about the 3 comes with, right? There's 3 at the bottom that come with the program. But let's start with the will, right? When you think about estate planning, most people know it as creating your will. And why is a will so important? Well, that's where you're going to create an executor, right? Someone who's in charge, someone who's going to handle everything. You're going to name a guardian, right? If your clients have a underage child or children, they're going to need to name a guardian in case something happens to the parents, who's going to have custody of the child or the children. And then lastly, it's called specific bequest, but what that simply is just listing all of your assets and naming a beneficiary who's going to receive them. All of that is why we create our will, naming an executor, a guardian, and listing our assets and who's going to receive them. The children's trust is a way for, if you don't want your child to receive their inheritance all at age 18, you can string that out over time. That's what the children's trust does. So you can give a certain percentage of their inheritance at a certain age. And all of that depends on the client. You know, they can list it out all the way up to age 35. Our financial power of attorney, of course, we all know what that is, right? Our POA. someone who's going to make our financial decisions when we can't make them for ourselves. So 3 very, very important documents to start off with. I'm going to switch gears and talk about our healthcare decisions. Remember on the first screen, it said protecting your wealth and your health. This is how we protect your health. Healthcare surrogate. That's your medical power of attorney. So someone who's going to make your medical decisions for you if you can't speak for yourself. And how important is that if we can't speak for ourselves? Someone who knows what our wishes are for our medical care, they can relay that to the doctors, the nurses, right? So very, very important. HIPAA authorization works hand in hand with your healthcare surrogate. The HIPAA agent can see your medical charts. They can see your psychotherapy notes, all of that. So those 2 documents work hand in hand. And then the last one, the advance directive, which is called a living will in some states. And that's your end of life decisions. Hey, keep me alive as long as possible. Hook me up to a machine, don't let me go. Or the opposite, when it's time, let me just, pass naturally. Keep me out of pain, but let me just pass naturally. Your decision, right? You need to make all of these decisions. And the one thing about estate planning is this is why we do it, right? To make sure that all of our decisions are followed through with. If we don't have these documents, someone else is going to make these decisions for us. We have a pet trust. So if you have a dog or cat or any kind of animal and you pass away, someone's going to have to take ownership of that animal, and you can leave some money behind for that person to take care of that animal. Whether it's for vet bills, boarding, food, whatever, for whatever needs that pet needs, this money will take care of. And then the last one is our revocable living trust. This is our probate avoidance. And the way that I describe this document, it's a holding document. Your clients fund all of their major assets, car, property, boats, vacation homes, right? They can fund all of those assets into the trust so that when you pass, all of those assets are distributed to your beneficiaries right away, and they don't go through the probate process. Probate is the process where if you die without a trust, all of your assets are frozen. And that gives time for creditors to come in, take what's owed to them first. And then probate can last, anywhere from 30 days. I've seen it go 2 to 3 years. So to make sure that all of our assets are distributed right away, it is so important for your clients to fund your assets into this trust. So those are all of the documents that you get in our most popular package. And then it also comes with a Lifevault. That's our cloud storage. It has 100 gigabytes of data, so you should never run out of storage space. And this is where you can put all of your important documents, like, of course, your estate planning documents, but life insurance policies, right? Annuities, tax documents, bank account information, pictures, videos, anything that you don't want to lose, you can store online. Spouse's plan is included. So, your client gets to create all of their documents along with their spouse. So 2 sets of documents for the one price. And we always have our 30-day money-back guarantee. If your clients try it and they don't like it for any reason, we can always give them their money back as long as they haven't downloaded any of their documents. So all of that's included for $600. In our law office, the same exact package runs about $3,500 to $5,000. So you can see the value, right? We've already paid the attorneys. All of their fees have been paid for. You're just paying for the documents and our program. Now, like I said, 90% of what we do is in this plan, but we do have the special needs trust that has really gained momentum as we went along. We just came out with this earlier this year. And this has really taken off, and I am so happy that it has, because we've spent a lot of time creating our special needs trust. And Pierre, who's going to talk later, he is one of our biggest special needs trust agents. He has sold a lot of special needs trust, and maybe he'll mention that a little bit as well. But the special needs trust is our third-party trust. That means anyone can put an asset into the trust except for the special needs person. They have their own special needs trust, which is called a first-party trust. But what we offer is a third-party special needs trust where anyone can put an asset into the trust, and that way the trust owns that asset, not the special needs person, so it doesn't affect their federal funding. And the special needs trust is only $750. But we do have a special where the parents can take care of their assets with our $600 plan and add a special needs trust for $1,000. Again, that's a savings of $350, and very, very well received. So now I'm going to bring on Pierre. Pierre is out of San Diego, and I have actually been to his office, and he is a very fine gentleman. I like to consider him a friend, and he has, you know, been in the industry a long time. But, you know, he still finds that special niche for estate planning that I love so much. I even called him, I think it was yesterday, to talk about the webinar and get everything set up. And he was actually working with one of his clients on a NetLaw plan, so it was perfect timing. But I'd like to go ahead and bring on Pierre. And Pierre, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody, to be watching this webinar this morning. I'm very glad I can share my experience with you. Maybe some of you can be inspired with what I did. Yes, like Mark said, I have been in the financial industry for almost 30 years now. When I started, like anybody else in this industry, I started to sell insurance and investment. And very early in my career, I came across some clients that that had a much more complicated situation than just a life insurance and an investment. So naturally, after probably a year and a half, I started to turn to some lawyers in town to get help. And for about 10 years, I directed my client to some of those lawyers to do estate planning. That's where I start to get acquainted with the law and the estate plan. I learned a lot from some lawyers. Some actually did not teach me anything. They just took the client and did it. But through those years, I learned that passion of estate planning. I realized the importance of estate planning. A lot of people today in America, and Mark is very aware of this, they have developed an estate. Everyone developed an estate. But that estate can become very complicated because every financial product that they put in that estate has been done by an agent or a person, an investor, without looking at the other parts of the estate. And so those people, those clients, have accumulated a lot of things, but they are not linked together. And sometimes when you look at the situation from way above, like an estate planner, then you realize that you have a mess in your hand and you need to organize this. And so I learned through those first 10 years with lawyers that estate plan actually, to me, is putting together or organize your estate. And I started with that idea. I got more and more involved in it. I got more passionate with it. And so when NetLaw came across our network, I jumped on the wagon right away, saying, okay, now instead of sending my client to a lawyer and hoping that he will do the right thing, I will be able to conduct that myself. Now, the first advice I will tell all of you, especially those people who are looking at this as maybe a way to increase your potential clientele. Before you start to do estate planning, you need to learn a little bit about it. So get a lawyer, get maybe NetLaw involved, but you need to have a sense of what estate planning is all about. And I took also a certificate, national, certificate, a CE, to do that. And the second thing that I will suggest is, and that's what I did my own trust with NetLaw. I was my first client. And that will allow me to learn the software and be familiar with the software. NetLaw has a very good backup for you. So I twisted that software so many ways on my own subject, on my own trust, that I had so many questions that I kind of killed most of the, or I find solution, let's put that way, to my question. Then to start this, well, since I was already in the industry for about 25 years when I started with estate planning, the first thing I did, I went to the clients that I had that were not referred to a lawyer, and I started to tell them that I could do estate planning and help them with that. So with this, we started slowly, but I got some clients who accepted this. Of course, at the beginning, when you start, you make mistakes. Sometimes they ask you a question and you don't know the answer. So that's where NetLaw back office is very important to you. You can check the answer with them and go back to your client. And also, since I was so passionate about this, I start to do some seminar training in my own office. I have 2 offices in California, and I train some agents. And my goal at that point was not so much to train the agents so they can do estate planning, because that takes a long time, but to decide them to become my client. Because I believe that an agent can sell a product only if he owns it or if he understands it pretty well. So I start to develop a clientele through my agent, plus a few clients from my old clientele. And then I realized very soon this is an online system. And the online system, in my opinion, can be also misused. Some of my agents became agent with NetLaw, and they sold the program, but their client, after a month or 2 or 3, will start to call me to ask me for help because those agents didn't know how to answer. So I realized very fast that if I add a service, a very close service to those clients, they will be so appreciated. So what I start to do, instead of saying, okay, so do it online, do it by yourself, call me if you have any question, I really started to say, okay, come to my office and we are going to do the trust together. And right away, I saw the change in the client's emotion, because they want to trust, but they are very intimidated by all those questions. Even if for me they seem to be very simple, for a client sometimes they don't know how to answer it. They don't know what it means to have a bequest. They don't know what's the importance of a trustee or an administrator. And they don't know, for example, what the choices they have with guardianship. So I started to meet with clients and do their trust online in front of them. And after that, what I decided to do, like lawyers, I said, I'm going to also print the documents, and we are going to do an inside office a notary. So when the client leaves the office, he will leave with a document filled out and signed and legal, notarized and everything. And even through the process, little by little, we started to have someone who had knowledge about transfer of deeds, because you need to fund the trust. So we start to prepare documents for the transfer of deeds. All this made those clients much, much more appreciated of our service. And we started to see clients sending us referrals, friends. So not only when I started, I had a few agents who became my client, and some of my clients became NetLaw client, but now those people that we prepare trust with, they started to send us their family, their neighbors, their friends, their coworkers. And one thing that we have used a lot with NetLaw is, for those of you who are familiar with this, they have what they call a BOGO a month, which is when you buy or when you purchase one trust, you're actually getting two. And so the second one can be gift or can be, donated to somebody else. And we use that with our clients, say, hey, do you have another trust? Who would you like to give it to? And we got involved in that transaction. And so now we acquire a duplicate client, let's put that way. On every trust we sold, we get another client for free that the client, the original client, is referring to us because he wants to please a friend, a family member. And since that person, we try to serve them as much as we serve the client who pay for the trust, they now also refer us more clients. So over the last 3 years, to give you an idea, we do about, and I know this is maybe not that many, but for me, it's pretty good. We do about 8 to 10 trusts a month. And I'm talking about, that means we sell about 5 trusts and we get 5 BOGO, 5 free trusts. So actually, when I sell 5, I get 10 clients. And now we have those 10 clients who will maybe refer us, let's say, another 5 or 6. And that means those 6 people will actually end up having 12 clients, if you understand the BOGO system. So over the last 3 years, I think now, Mark, I was checking the other day, I think we sold about 150, 160 trusts. That means we prepared about 300 trusts in 3 years. And that's 300 clients that we can now receive referral from. And actually, we do that all the time. I will say on a regular month, I get maybe 2-3 referrals from the agents of the office. I get maybe 2-3 from my own client, but also I get easily 3-4 clients from all those previous clients that we prepared trust from, just on a referral basis. Mark, if you remember, you came with me to one of our clients to do a special need trust, if you remember, in San Diego.
Yeah.
And actually that person already referred me like 4 clients. So 4 clients with BOGO, that's 8 new clients. And that's, there is no much secret in this. What I did and what I use is the service. We spend time on those clients to prepare their trust. The way I do it, usually after the initial consultation where they buy the trust, I invite them to the office. We spend anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half talking to the client to find out exactly what the situation is. And then during that hour and a half, I draft the early documents. Then I send them home so they can review the documents. So they get involved. I want them to get involved. That's the best way for me to make sure that they appreciate the trust. So they go home, they check their name, the spelling, they check the documents to make sure that the beneficiary is the right one in the right order. Then they come back to the office, and then at that time, we have all the documents ready for them, printed. The notary is there, which is a third person now. They re-explain the documents to the client. So it's a third person again explaining. And then after that, they come back to me. And now we do something very, very special especially for those of you who are in the financial service. We do the funding, because having a trust is one thing. And if you want to organize the trust, you need to have things to organize. So what are we talking about? It's all the estate portion of it. The house, the real estate property, the condominium that they bought and that they are renting, the piece of land that they bought 20 years ago as an investment. And then we go to the life insurance contract, the IRA contract, the 401k contract, the, you know, all those investment, the mutual fund, you name it, the stock account. And you will be surprised once they find out that we are willing to help them. I have actually clients, and I have been in the financial service for, well, 30 years. It's pretty hard for you to have access to all your clients' products because they hesitate. They have another broker or another insurance agent, and they don't want for you to know those products they already bought. But with estate planning, they volunteer. At the end, sometimes I don't ask people. Yesterday, the client who came, she came with a bag of policies, of a mutual fund, of stocks, stock account, 401k. She had everything in her bag last night. So all I have to do now is to photocopy and help them with and explain to them what we're going to do to fund the trust, to move all those assets in the trust. But at the same time, that gives me the opportunity to say, oh, you have this account with Merrill Lynch. Do you really like it? Do you have any question about this? And most of them say, oh, wow, this is very nice. You're the first one to be able to look at this and explain to me things that I never understood. So that gives you the opportunity now to what I call the ping pong effect, to use the NetLaw, your estate planning project or plan, to do financial service and vice versa. So I like the NetLaw, and I especially like the estate planning subject. I believe, like Mark, that most Americans don't have an estate plan. They have not organized their finance. They have a very, very messy family situation. Don't be surprised. You are going to find some situation, you know, I could not go on details here, but very, very complicated. And that's because people have a complicated life today. You know, if you think of the statistics, I think about 50% of all weddings end up in one divorce. So that's a complication. People move from state to state, so they leave behind some properties in different states. Now you have to put them back together in one trust. So when they find you and you know about those things and how to do it, believe me, those people are so relieved to be able to talk to you about their family situation. We end up sometimes with very, very deep conversation with our clients. This is the first time, for example, they're willing to talk about funeral expense, who is going to bury them, things like that. And that's where they find out the importance of estate planning. And I think that's part of our success is we make the client aware of subject that probably it's in their mind, but they were never really willing to open up, even sometimes with their spouse. We find discussion between spouses that they never really opened the subject before, but in front of us, they start to open up. And so it's a mix, you know, it's a lot of emotion in those meetings, but that also makes our client much closer to us. And I think that's why the referral from those clients is very strong. It's not like in financial service sometimes where someone say, oh, I know my cousin would like to have a policy, can you call her? And you call that person and she has no clue what you're talking about and she's not willing to do any business with you. The kind of referral we get under estate planning is actually a sold one. I receive phone call from people saying, my friend talked to me about estate planning, can I buy one now? I don't even have to sell it to them. I just go directly into the subject of okay, let's meet, let's discuss your situation, we will do the trust. There is no discussion about if they want to buy a trust or not. They're already being sold the trust by their friends. So the referral are very, very strong. On top of that, if you look at the software was created to help you to get more referral. For example, the trustees, there is a little question there where you can mark or you can input the email address of the trustees and click on a button saying, yes, please contact me for estate planning. So the software also can create more referral, and that's due to NetLaw system. So there is a lot of things that you could do with estate planning. Like Mark said again, what I like is that the lack of estate planning out there. So it's not a subject that most people have done already. They know because, for example, this situation now with COVID-19, they can see in their own family that estate planning is important. They may have heard of someone passing away without a will. They watch that experience. So the environment, the situation also encourage people today to do estate planning. And that's how we created this network actually, and this system where we go with referral, and either from agent or from our clients or from new estate planning client. Mark mentioned also the S&P, the Special Need Trust. This is something that I'm very proud that NetLaw worked on it. This is probably new to most of you. This is a special trust for people who are handicapped. And what I found out through my research is in America today, 1 out of 5 children is a handicapped child. And so when you go to this subject, you will find out that most families, especially some ethnies or some people from different countries, they will hide those children. They don't want the world to know that they have a handicapped child. And so they think that they will take care of them for the rest of their life. But once you explain to them the S&P, then you see a big smile on them, because that may be the continuation of their support to those children. So that's another thing. You can go with S&P, by the way, to organization, because sometimes they don't want you to talk about estate planning because they feel that you are going to sell them something. But once you mention special need trust, this is so unusual in the industry that they're willing to help those families with handicapped children. So that's a little bit the subject on NSP. Mark, do you have anything else?
No, I think that was great. You covered a lot of topics. I appreciate you coming on and talking to everybody. I think
Sure.
I think just to pitch in on a couple of things. What I thought was most important that you brought up was the referrals, right? And how
Yes.
you took one NetLaw sell and possibly made it into 3 or 4 more, because they're doing their estate planning, and obviously they know others who need this as well. Just like you said, now you have people calling you just wanting to buy it because they've already talked to their friends and family about it, and they know about the product and they know how good it is. So they're just calling you to facilitate everything. I thought that was great.
Yes, if you take care of your clients at the beginning, maybe those agents are going to find out that it's a lot of work for maybe not much compensation, but that's not the point. If you take care of them, they will sell your trust, or the way you do the trust, to others.
Mm-hmm.
And they become very passionate.
Yeah, and another thing that you brought up was the lady who brought in all of her financial documents to you. I think that's
Yes.
so important because not only are you helping her with her estate planning, now you can give a financial wellness check to her. And how important is that? Because you could go through and see if, maybe she had a term life that's expired or getting ready to expire, or, maybe you could talk to her about an annuity or something like that. Something, that there's other products that go along with this. I've always said that NetLaw and estate planning is a door opener because it introduces you to all of the things that they need to protect. So I think those were the two most important things you brought up today, and that this is something that everyone on this webinar can take away from is, making sure that you ask for referrals like we all do. But, here you're getting to know their family, it's not that you're just signing up mom and dad. You're getting to know, okay, so you have adult children. Great. Do they have this product? Here's their mom and dad that are still alive. Do they have their estate planning? So, it's a product where not only do you service the main client, but everybody else in their family link, right?
Yeah, correct. And especially for those who work, let's say, out of an office where there is a lot of agents. And if those agents have trouble to develop their own market, estate planning is a great thing. Like you mentioned, I taught my agent to give me some of their clients that sometimes they have only one legal policy, and they say, Pierre, there is nothing there. I cannot find anything. I go there, I do estate planning, and I come back and I say, what are you talking about? He brought me like three stock account, a bank account with $100,000, and that agent had no clue that those clients had this because the client will not disclose that to them, but he disclosed to me.
Right. Yeah, and then lastly, you brought up the special needs, and if you were with us last week, we had Sandra Santillan as our guest speaker, and she did a wonderful job on the special needs presentation. But I think you brought it home too, the importance of not forgetting, that special group. There are a lot of children with special needs, and with the price of our special needs trust, it is, it's very inexpensive as special needs trusts go, and it's always something that these parents are looking for. And now that they have an affordable option, and you are, Sandra was great at selling this, and so are you, Pierre. Not forgetting that special group, and once you get into that group, you're in. They bring you in. That is a tight-knit group, and if you can get into a special needs group, I highly suggest that you do that.
Yes, and I found out, and this is new to me now, I'm finding out more and more, actually, all those nonprofit organizations who have, members, they're very sensitive to that one. Mm-hmm. And because some of their members have those kids and they don't know how to help them. And there is not much information about this. So those nonprofit organizations who probably before, when I said I can do trust, they say, oh no, we have a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Now with special need trust, they say, oh yeah, can you come back? We need to help those families with those kids. And like you said, once you have one family, it's like a fire starting in the forest, because that I found out that most of those families with those special need kids, they do not know about special need trust. It's not a subject that is taught to them. The only thing they know is they need to accumulate money to help them through their life. But if they passed away, they don't know what is going to happen to those kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Great point. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let me go into the Q&A and answer any questions. This webinar is being recorded, and we will send it out to everyone either late today or tomorrow. You should have it. I know someone did ask about the recording that we had last week. We did send that out, but if you do need a recording of it, go ahead and give us a call. I do want to talk about our, before I move on to the questions, I do want to talk about our promotions that we have going on for the agents this month. Of course, our buy one, get one free is going on that Pierre mentioned, and how he used the BOGOs to increase his client portfolio. But again, if you sell a plan, that client gets 2 plans this month, one for themselves and one to give away to anyone over the age of 18. And remember, they get the same exact plan. So if you buy a $600 plan, that person's getting a $600 plan. If you're buying the special needs trust or the bundled package of the special needs trust, then they can give that away as well. So a great way to help out the community. And remember, as an agent, if you sell 5 plans this month, for the month of November, then you get to sell buy one, get 2 free. And this, just like Pierre said, is another way to really increase your client portfolio, because they're going to give these plans away. And these clients of the BOGOs are going to be under your dashboard, right? So you're going to have it. So this is a great way to call them, introduce yourself, and make sure that, if there's anything that you can help them with, let them know that you're here for them. I bet, a lot of them don't have a financial agent. And, this is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of, you're not selling them the NetLaw plan because they got it for free, but use the NetLaw plan as your door opener, right? Help them create the documents and then really get into, storing everything into that vault. Use our NetLaw vault as that door opener, right? Let's go ahead and take your life insurance policies, bring your tax information in. We'll scan all of that and store it in there. That way they're bringing you all of their financial documents, and it's a great time to do that wellness check that I talked about. But just to recap, remember, you sell 5 plans this month. Next month you get buy one, get 2 free to sell to your clients. So, and this doesn't come around very often. So please take advantage of it. It is a great way to increase your clients and help the community out as well by getting them the documents that they need. Of course, if you always need us, you can get a hold of us. This is our phone number. And at the bottom is our email address. And of course, once you get into your plan and stuff, you can chat with us. We have help desk tickets. So, you can get a hold of us in a wide variety of ways. But usually the email, the help desk tickets, and the chats are the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of us. So let's go to the Q&A and let's see if I can. I know Jennifer has been on here answering all of these Q&A questions, which I really thank her for. So let's go ahead and answer some of these Q&As that are still left. Okay, Raheem is asking, can you send me a link? Well, if you're an agent, the way that you sign up for NetLaw is through partner.netlawinc.com, and Jennifer will answer that. She'll give you the link on how to register as a NetLaw agent if you haven't already done that. And that's the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to partner.netlawinc.com and register yourself under the group that you're with. And then you can always call this number. We can help you get started. We can give you, tips on how to get started and all of that. So, feel free to use this number for anything. If your clients have a question, if you have a question, if you need to get started, all of that. And once you get started, then you can register for a 10-minute meeting with me, and we'll go over and answer any questions that you have. And I'll give my advice to you on best practices of how to get started and how to introduce this to your client base. Bill wants us to post this meeting on our Facebook page. Absolutely. I'll get with our IT group and I'll see if they can post that on there. But everybody still look for the email. That way you can scan it and save it somewhere for when you need it. And like I said, we should have that out late today or tomorrow sometime. Daniel's asking a question about the process and also tips. Pierre, what about what kind of tips can you give them as far as maybe just if they're a brand new agent getting started, how do you introduce this to brand new clients that you haven't had any contact with before? How do you go and start a conversation with someone brand new?
Oh, okay. Well, if this is a client, a financial product client, I tell them that let's organize now your estate. I start with the idea of the estate because everyone in their life accumulate things. We accumulate a ton of things, but they never look at this estate from way above. Does it make sense to have this product relate to your situation? So and nobody really in the financial industry offers that because sometimes they just want to sell a product, an extra product. So with the estate planning, they like that idea. Oh yeah, you can organize for me. Yes. So I have a pie system, and that's where I said, oh, by the way, if you want me to organize your estate, you need to bring me all your estate related financial product and like statements, bank statements, life insurance statements, 401k statements. So they bring this, and then I try to show them how this makes sense, because I will ask the question that, since I can see this from way above, I will say, what did you buy this $2 million policy when you have only one child and your income is only $100,000 a year, let's say, for example. So where does it make sense? Where do you make that sense? So by doing this, then the subject comes to, well, since we look at the estate and we start to organize it, why don't we do now an estate plan? Why don't we do a trust? It will be the next move on this. And then I can move some of your, financial plan to something that is more related to each other. So, it takes some practice and it takes some training, but like I said, if those agents who are interested in this, if they take a lot of CE, I did take a lot of CE in my life. Some of those CE are pretty good at understanding estate planning.
Yeah, great. Let's talk. I know there's 10 minutes left, and I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. But let's talk about, you talked about doing the transfers into the trust. How do you do that? How do you do that with your clients?
Okay, so on that subject, you have to be very careful, Mark. Now, it used to be that, at least in the state of California, but I think most states are copying this. In the state of California now, to do the transfer or to prepare the paperwork for a transfer of deed, you have to be certified if you want to charge for your service. Now, the county that has the recording will not help you with the paperwork at all. They even not want to tell you which form to use. So to be able to do this, I was lucky enough to find a county recorder employee who pre-retired. So they prepare those title, for all their life. They have seen all of them. So she came to our office, started to work with us, got a notary, and now she's the one preparing those paperwork because she has the knowledge, but she cannot charge for that. And we make sure that she does not charge she charged for the notary service, not for the preparation of the paperwork. Otherwise, she will have to take that special, it's called it's a legal, it's not legal aid anymore. It's a legal document preparer, I think it is. So they have to be very careful because they can be liable. The county where they register the title will register any form of title. And so that doesn't mean that because the title is recorded, that it's a legal title. And that's why, you know, you have to go through someone who is familiar with titles to make sure that the title will hold. Otherwise, the client could come back to you and sue you. Is that answering the question?
Yeah, I think that answers the question. I think what I would add on to that is, I think Pierre has a very special circumstance there. I think for most of us, what we do is we can work with the client on getting the deed of the property or the title of the automobile. And what we do is we can go down to the county clerk's office with them and just have the deed transfers done through the county clerk's office.
Okay.
That's
so
probably, probably the easiest.
Help you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you have a very special person there.
In California, we have to be careful. Now, there is also, Mark, even in your service, if they want to use your service on the legal attorneys list, there is 2 or 3, I think, that do deeds for you. Mm-hmm. So if they don't know, and if I will advise them not to even try to change the title if they don't know how, but they can direct the client to that service. I think you have 3 companies actually who do that. You send them the deed of trust. They charge you maybe $100, $150, and they take care of this. And so you have no liability. The transfer is legal, it's done, the client is happy, and you know all you have to do is to send the deed of trust to that person, to that office.
That's right.
It's on NetLaw. It's on the attorney list.
Yeah. All right. So I hope that answered your question, Daniel. I know we probably went the long way around that, but I wanted to give both options of how you can do that. So good question. Okay, that was all the Q&As that I see. I know Jennifer has answered a lot of those. Let me go to the chat and see what we got here, Pierre. Looks like a lot of the same questions. Then Kat is asking Pierre about the course you took in estate planning. Can you talk a little bit about that and where they would go to do that?
Sure. There is, and I'm pretty sure there is more than one school. Okay, there is many schools online out there. But I took a certificate from the what's the name now? The Certified Estate Planner. So it's SEP. Oh gosh, Mark, you asked me. I didn't prepare for this one. NICEP, NICEP, National Institute of Certified Estate Planner. Mm-hmm. .com. Right. But you can take a certificate from somebody else. It doesn't have to be that one. But there is also plenty of books. You know, I have 2 big books in my office on estate planning, written by lawyers. And I refer to that all the time because of forms of, you know, different questions.
Yeah, that's right. But just one quick thing. Remember, we are not in the practice of giving legal advice, so we have to be careful of what we
Correct. So yeah, that's something we should at least mention to everybody. You are not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. And I tell that to the client up front. I say, I can explain to you your question, but I cannot make the decision for you. So for example, let's say on the question of guardianship, they would say, what's a guardianship? Well, I can explain. If you die, your kids needs to have a parent somewhere, and that's called a guardian at that point. Right. Someone has to appoint that guardian. If you don't, the court will. So the question here is, would you like to appoint a guardian? But I'm not going to tell you which guardian you should appoint, which now it's become an advice.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, you have to be very careful not to play the lawyer. That's correct.
Yeah, and Christopher actually put the link up there for National Institute of Certified Estate Planners.
Yes, right.
So you can look in the Q&A and see that link if anyone's interested.
But there is more than that one. I mean, we are not recommending that one. They have choices.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. I'm not seeing anything else in here. If anything else pops in the next few minutes, I will make sure that Jennifer answers that. But it is almost 1 o'clock. I want to thank Pierre again for a great presentation. I hope everyone is finding these webinars very useful. I started these because, you know, I can get on these webinars and I can talk, but I work for NetLaw. I really wanted that agent to agent conversation and display why, you know, NetLaw can really be an asset to you as you go out and you talk to all of your clients. And it's a great way to get more clients. So I hope everyone is finding this very useful. Again, we will be sending these webinars out. I'll see if we can post those on Facebook. I can't remember who asked that, but I'll try to get with our IT and make sure that we put that out on our Facebook page as well. So again, thank you, Pierre. That was wonderful. You did a great job, and I really do appreciate everything that you do for NetLaw. And remember, next week, same time, and we will have Yvonne Arjoyan on to speak to us. So again, thank you, everybody, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and a great weekend. And I will see everybody back here next Thursday at noon Eastern. Have a great day, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark, for your hosting this, and thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, Pierre.